Yo, what's poppin'? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the awful start to the midseason madness that the Toronto Defiant has had. So, right, they lose to London 3-1, they lose to Florida 3-1, but it's like a pretty awful 3-1 each time. They show a map of hope, but like not really. It's like pretty consistently awful the whole time because they're mostly running the Winston, Sombra, Echo on a Lucio, which is not bad last stage, but this stage is awful because Zenyatta's good and Winston just gets blown up and dies because he doesn't have a diva to support him. He just can't live into the Zenyatta. It's just far too much damage. So Jorn being in instead of Soldier doesn't really help. She can just run away and shoot back, and it's not great. Um, and then they also are playing the Sigma a little bit, but not really. They brought it on Coliseum. It looked horrible, but I think that's more so because they don't have the practice time on it against Florida. I think they were just like, oh, we have to do something because what we've been doing has not been working because it's just not a good decision. But I'm not too concerned about it because I have faith that can work for them if they get some more playtime on it. They just haven't played it very much at all right now. But why is this really bad? Like it's two losses. It's not a huge deal. It's two losses, but the it's actually very tight for who's going to make it out of the kickoff clash because of how the schedule works, because of the extra point, because of how it carries over from last stage and stuff like that. So if I go to the Midseason Madness qualifiers, right, we'll see Toronto have 5 points, Washington have 5 points, and London have 5 points. And below them, below the 5 points, are Boston with 2 points. So Boston's basically out, right? They're not technically out, but they'd have if they win all of the rest of the four games, they get 6 points total. I don't see a world where they make it in with such a bad map differential as it is, with so many points deficit. I haven't even looked at their schedule, but I would probably wager they don't win here. This isn't awful actually. It could be Paris. That could be Paris and New York. Maybe they find upsets against the other teams. I don't think so. I don't see it for Boston. So basically ignoring them. These guys are fighting for the bottom two spots. You can maybe put Florida there. I'm not entirely sure. I kind of think they're kind of safe. But so these are the main like guys we're looking at for who makes it in, really. Uh, and you'll notice that Toronto actually plays Washington on week 8, and then Washington actually plays London on week 9, and London and Toronto have already played. But before I talk about their schedules, I want to talk about like more of how awful this team is because it really is an awful look for this team, and it's really bad for them moving forward. So although has not played at all, just hasn't done it. And that's not bad in itself because I do think Finale is probably better, but I don't like the Finale Echo. I think it's been kind of lackluster. I don't have problems with Echo as a character, and maybe it would be easier with a ball because you can pile drive sticky and things like that. But as of right now, the Finale Echo is not the one. His Tracer is much better. I'd like to see him on Tracer. Just run Tracer. Hisu has played lights out on the Sombra. You cannot blame him for this team's performance. He's played up to his standards. He's played great. The problem here can come in where would he be doing more on Sojourn? I think the answer is yes, especially when he is your best player. You probably want your best player on the more carry role Sombra while he has one fight and he's building an EMP like every other fight, and sometimes he's getting multiple 5-man EMPs. He's getting like fight EMP, and they're just 5-mans, and he's just doing a lot. The follow up hasn't been there from from using on Winston, Finale, and Echo. Just in general, just not there. So I would like Hisu to play more of the world where he can do it all in the Sojourn. Because we've seen Kai take over games. We've seen Sparker play very well and take over games, basically. And Hisu has that same capability. He can do that. So, and from what we've seen him on Sojourn, a little bit we have, it's been great. It's been spectacular. You can't fault it at all. So, I think that you probably want to put your carry on the carry and let that happen. Uh, the supports I don't really have a problem with. I think Charong's played great. I think Twilight's kind of played a little below expectations, and I think he is a contributing factor to why they're losing. Like, you even compare him to Krillin on Washington. Krillin's playing fantastic. He played well this stage. He played well last stage. Twilight has not had that impact as even Krillin has. And teams have better flex points than Krillin. He's not getting the same value as Finn. He's not getting the same value as a Shu. It's just not there. And that's kind of what we expected for this team, right? Kind of expected Twilight to be that guy. He could be. Haven't seen it yet. Would like him to step it up. Muse is on Winston. And we also saw him on Doomfist, and it looked really bad. So that kind of rules out the Doomfist for trying to save this stage and kind of your season. Well, maybe not the season, but for this stage for sure. So that's why it's not really an option for them, because I didn't think the Muse Doomfist was very good at all. It looked quite bad. We even saw a little bit of Hoppa Doomfist. It looked a little better than Muse probably, but it was still not great. Maybe it'd be okay if they practice it more. I trust Hoppa as kind of the player that can pick it up quite easily, but they'd be quite far behind a lot of teams on trying to Doomfist at this point. So I don't think that's a good option either. And part of the problem with this is, give them some time. They just lost their head coach, but Moby Dick was supposed to be like that guy. He was supposed to be like, oh, you lose your head coach, but you have Moby Dick, so it's kind of okay. This is a really bad look for him, because this either means Muse is taking over the team, and he's saying, oh, we're going to play Winston because we were good at that, or Moby Dick was genuinely believing in the Winston comp, which is a horrible, horrible look. Or they were like, okay, we didn't get that much scrim time, so we are going to just play what we know and hope that it works, and worry about what happens next after. If that was the case, and they were like, okay, we were behind right now or something, or there was some reason that they didn't get to practice this meta that much or something, then that's the only thing I can think of, really, because it doesn't make any sense to run the Winston. It's like they ignored that the patch even happened. It's not good enough. And it may just ruin their season, because those were two very winnable games, and they needed at least one of them. They needed one of them, probably, right? If they got one, they were kind of safe. They were in a good spot. But because you lose both, now you're 4-4, you're in danger of missing out. So looking at the standings again, right? I've talked about London, Toronto, Washington. Now you're three guys that you're looking at. Florida, maybe Florida Atlanta to an extent. Probably not. I think I would feel safe to say that, barring them losing the rest of their games, which they just shouldn't, should be okay. Florida does have a harder schedule this stage, if I remember correctly, but should be all right for the most part, right? So this game, Washington Defiant, coming up Saturday, June 25th. This is an important game. This is it. This is going to be the big one, because Toronto missing it on that point, and they're probably going to lose the other two, right? If Toronto loses this game, they will have 6 points total, basically. Washington will have had 6 points, even if they lose the rest of them and they play Vancouver. So Washington pretty much have 7, right? So let's say Toronto have 6 because they lose this one and they beat Paris. Justice beat Vancouver, and now they have 7 points because they just beat Toronto. London play Washington, right? And Paris. So let's put them at 6. And they'll play New York. So we can put them at 7, maybe 8. Right? Maybe 9. But that's not too impactful right now. If Toronto loses this game, it's basically over for them. Like, it is done. It's just done. If they win this game, it's winnable. But even then, let's say Toronto win this game. They are at 6 points, Washington's at 5, right? Okay, you beat Paris, you're at 7 points. Washington, if they beat Vancouver and they beat London, they're also at 7 points. It's not impossible. If they lose this game, Toronto's done. If they win this game, they still can win. They still might win. They might get in, but there's a chance they don't. But I'm gonna say, right, this game between Toronto and Washington is going to be the deciding factor on who is making it into the Midseason Madness between the two teams. So all eyes should be on this game. This is going to be the most important game of the qualifying round. This is it. It's this game. On the second week of the tournament, this is the one for NA. I'm just saying. You have we're at this level of catastrophe, and this is not just like just points, right? It's a whole point. It's basically an extra win for the final standings for the playoffs. I don't know. It's rough. It is rough if you're the Defiant right now, because you have a week to turn around maybe the worst performance in NA into a win against the Justice, who didn't look great. They didn't look great. They lose to Houston. They beat New York. I don't think they look great though. I think they look beatable, but they do have the upper hand based off what we saw. And it's going to be crazy to see what Defiant do. If they come out on a Winston, write them out. Just drop them. They're done for this stage. Maybe the season. If they come out on a ball, we'll see how they do. I think that there were a lot of underperforming balls, right? So Defiant probably won't be that behind if they lose a week of scrims. I don't think they'll be that bad because the other team's balls weren't that impressive. It's not like there's a huge deficit there. And if you want to come out on the Hoppa Sigma, go ahead. There shouldn't be a problem with that. It should be good. Just do something that's not Winston. That's all I ask. Anyway, thank you so much for watching me ramble about Defiant. I did this for an hour with two of my friends. I will link that at the end of this video. So yeah, thank you so much. Comment down below your thoughts. Like and subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content, and have a good one.